Welcome back, boys and some girls. I need to play the second game. I need the second game to come out so much. It has problem. This game has problem. Not saying there is, no doubt, but this game is very good. For those who have no idea what this game is, it's an adult game with a surprisingly good story, surprising at least for me, and a somewhat decent combat. I'm not going to talk about the adult parts and the whole scenes, not too much. I'm just gonna do a small mention, because I don't believe you should be buying a game just to jerk it. You can just go online, find so many things free. I just feel like it's wasting your money doing this kind of thing, but it's your money, do whatever you want. Obviously, I cannot show you most of the game due to the amount of phallic objects and gaping holes in every other frame in this game. So the gameplay on the screen will be heavily censored most of the time, or I'll show you a very specific part of the game, but know that there is more, it's just I can't show you. With that being said, it is my main problem of the game. The fact that every single aspect of the game is turned not to 11, but to 20. Everything is just too much. Too much comedy. Too much, well, phallic objects and gaping holes. Too much of everything is just too much. I also need to say that yes, I will be a neckbeard reviewing this game, just like the devs loves. Not really. There's a whole side quest about how they think neckbeards and basement dwellers shouldn't share their opinion about adult games online. Well, good then for you, because I'm not a basement dweller, but I am, well, a neckbeard. By far, the strongest part of this game is its story. I would recommend it to anyone who doesn't mind some nudity, well, a lot of nudity, to go play this game. But just focus only on the quests and improving your ship and your team. Because beside that, you also have a quick jerk mode in which you can unlock a variety of scenes with the different characters that you have in the game, displayed in extreme situations with extreme libs inserted into their holes. I will quickly go over gameplay, because there's not a lot to talk about, sadly. You get a basic system and you run with it from the start all the way to the end, which took me 37 hours to complete, and I didn't do everything there is to do, because some of it, well, most of it is copy-pasted to about 500 maps that divide into two styles of gameplay. Style number one is a Chicken Invader style of top-down gameplay with your spaceship in the center, and you have the ability to use different weapons depending on the lady that is also co-piloting your ship with you. The second type is a turn-based combat with a hero which you choose from between your ladies, and some crazy monsters with very large limbs that are exposed all the time, by the way. And that's pretty much it for the gameplay part. The maps for the top-down spaceship gameplay does vary, but rarely, and only during major missions. You still have about 250 copy-pasted maps to fly your spaceship around while you destroyed other ships in the shapes of breasts or other phallic objects. For the turn-based combat, you don't get that much variety. Only very rarely the maps change, but you still pretty much fight the same way, unlike the flying with your spaceship, where it can vary in the gameplay part. I want to talk about the story the most because I liked it the most and enjoyed the storytelling, even if some things were a bit overdone, but that's what I'm here to talk about, so let's go. Obviously, heavy spoilers for the whole game, so you can pretty much stop watching here if you don't really want any spoilers. So, long story short, the game is very political, and it's leaning toward the progressive, I wouldn't say leaning, it's falling on the progressive side, as obviously a more conservative company would not make an adult game, so it kind of makes sense. I do not agree with about 80% of what the game is saying, but I really enjoy the way it was told. So, you collect a bunch of good-looking ladies that have different personalities until a certain point in the game where maybe one or two of them will shine, and the rest of them will pretty much always talk about how much and how extreme is the sex they're doing. And that is the story of the game. You take your crew, you go to rescue the world from evil genocidal conservatives that ban sex and everything that is related to it. It might seem strange to say about an adult game, but I really think this game is a gem, and if they turn down the wanting to seem so extreme and grotesque every other second, this game would attract more people outside the basement dwelling sphere. The writing itself kind of felt like there was a very talented writer working his ass off, and then they forced a 12-year-old child to sit next to the guy and make sure he wrote down as many fuck, dick, and the C word that YouTube really hates when I say every other sentence. This makes the story tear you away from the immersion every time something is getting serious and interesting. Even with me saying that, we do get some wholesome moments and legit proper romance. The problem is that it's multiplied by like 8 or 9 ladies, so some things are bound to fall through the cracks. At the end, your crew just becomes a copy of the same lady 6 or 7 times, with maybe 1 or 2 ladies remaining sort of unique. And this is sad, because at their introduction, they are all quite different, but then they all turn into a dam by the amount of holes that needs filling in them. I will say my opinion about sex in games very briefly. It's just like spice. No spice, no taste. Too much spice, not tasty anymore. When you play the game, the story will take you to meet the Sinew, which are an evil race that basically control the whole world and force their own rules on others whenever they like it or not. And if they break the rules, then they won't hesitate to delete the whole planet just to make sure the other races won't also stray from the righteous path. And I'm putting air quotation on this righteous path. The game begins with the change of the Empress and us tasked to rebel against the Empire as a former legendary spaceship pilot. The new Empress is quite naive and she doesn't know how to rule or who to listen to in her government, but she's sure about one thing: she doesn't want senseless killing. But coming from the Sinew, this really doesn't mean much, so the plans pretty much stay on track and you as a player are left only some clues and foreshadowing to catch up on your own. There is a lot of dialogue in this game, so I will try and keep it as short as I can. When the new Empress took the throne, one senator started a plan to take down the empire he's part of, using the player and another team that we are not aware of when we start playing. Both teams have the same goal, but different ways of achieving it. As expected, everything collides at the very end, and the senators try to betray us both. But we escape and we return to kill him. During the whole game, we see how the Empress is struggling with the ruling because so many people just want to abuse her power for their own good, so she doesn't know who to listen to. But we do get a happy ending with your full harem on the ship and the whole universe is saved for now. Because due to the 2 plans that were running at the same time, there's just so much chaos in the kingdom right now, and it seems like a civil war is brewing. And that, I believe and hope, will be the basis for the next game. Now, throughout the whole story and the side missions, we get told how having sex with everything that has a pulse all the time, everything, is the best thing ever. And holding yourself back is lame, and the only ones to do it are the evil Sinew, which are also shown to be committing some things here and there, just to show that even they don't truly believe in what they say they believe in. Playing this game kind of felt like I was playing Mass Effect 1 to 3 in a single game. There is just so much that could have been shown in between to make this game longer or show you some interesting bits, but in the end they choose to stretch the gameplay instead of the story. I would have much rather to have this game broken up into 2 or 3 parts and just basically show us the in-between instead of saying, yep, we got there. As much as I praise the writing, they are not exempt from adding stupid drama scenes just for the sake of it. For example, during a story mission, we go to one of the ladies' houses, in which we get ambushed, and then to escape, we need the lady's dad to use a rocket into a hole in the ground that we are inside to help us go out. So, what would the normal person do? Just throw the missile inside and get it over with. But what does the game do? The girl's dad just takes the rocket, shove it in his own ass and jump down with it. And they don't even try to make it like a joke scene or something. It's a legit sad scene with a small funeral following it. Simply stupid and existing for the sake of the girl being sad and the MC having an excuse to comfort her without needing to actually give a good story reason for the comforting. Again, air quotation on the comforting. Aside from that, most, I repeat, most, not all, most of the adult scene kind of makes sense how they reach from point A to point B. Not very high chance of it happening in reality, but close enough to it. I do enjoy the adult scenes in the story when they make sense. They attach you to the story on a deeper level, and it sells the story better as a package. Sadly, however, when every other sentence talks about it, it becomes very dull and eye-rolling after a while. Adding to the preachy vibe in the game, there are also side quests which tend to show you real-life figures like Gordon Ramsay or Bobby Kotick, and simply change some facts around them and present you a very jokey sub-story to solve. And the solution is always one of the 2 types of gameplay I talked about before. Now, in those side objectives, we also get mentions of people like Elon Musk or Tim Pool, and a mention of how stupid they are and blah 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 blah. I don't mind ridiculing people in a game. It's funny. But when they are related to the game, when you just take a subject that has 0 connection to the game and you apply it to the game, it immediately seems like you just want to tell me how to think and don't even try to make it funny. For example, when you're doing the Gordon Ramsay quest, you're looking for clit berries. which is a funny name, and the whole speech, how he says like it's raw, it's funny. But when you talk about Elon Musk or Nipul, they simply state that they are stupid and Tim wears stupid beanies. It's not smart. There's no funny joke here to say it. It's just saying, ha, stupid. And this is where I believe the 12-year-old I mentioned before comes in. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind laughing at more political figures. It just had to make sense and connect to the game. Let's say you picked some political figure that tried to ban adult-related things, and you connect them to the game through that, it would be funny and would make sense. Like they added Bobby Kotick with how he's trying to exploit the whole planet for his profit and he doesn't really care about anything else and he's a giant clown lobster thing. It's related to the game. It's kind of funny because he's, well, CEO of gaming, so it makes sense. If I wanted to laugh at Elon, for example, I would make a side quest where he's boasting about being the best at some random online game, but then he's shown to be really bad at it, so we can laugh at him and relate to the person through the gaming. Otherwise, it just seems like you're rage venting. On the technical part of the game, I had a crash every few hours back to desktop, and I had to relaunch the game to play again, but nothing much beside that. I did have some quality of life problems with screens that needed repeated commands, like the date screen, that need to be exited and entered once again every single time you want to give a gift to a crew member. And it is also the place where you can level up your crew, mostly for the devotion quest, but also for random outfits and things like that if you care for it. I personally was very happy for the alternative outfit, so I can actually make the characters a bit more clothed, so I can show you some kind of footage for this video, otherwise I couldn't show you anything. I had a ton of fun experiencing the story, and I'm totally looking forward to the next game in the series, but I know it will take a while because the game just released like at the end of last year, a few months ago. And I will be exploring more adult games because I was surprised to see how such a good story was in a game that I kind of deemed to be something not important or like a weirdos kind of game. At least it seems this way to me, so I'm totally more interested now. But yeah, pretty much good story. Combat, please work a bit more on the gameplay so it's not going to be as tedious. But that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, thank you. If you didn't, let me know why, so I can improve. Besides, I keep it safe. See you next one. Bye bye.